Dad, this is really different from what we normally do for your birthday. It's a pumpkin pie with a candle in it on Thanksgiving. And just so you know, next year we're going back to the pumpkin pie with the candle.
EJ's been there for everything good that's happened with hockey. Everything that's happened, EJ, it seems like he was part of. He built the game.
I know people like to say, well, Mario's the one who made it all go, and that is true, but EJ's the one who brought Mario to Pittsburgh, and he had the vision to have the Penguins turn into what they've turned into because of his experience with Bobby Orr and with the Boston Bruins and having won the Cup. So, EJ, we owe it all to you, but thank you very, very much for bringing that to the city of Pittsburgh.
I just want to say, Dad, it's such a treat to be able to acknowledge you here, and this is a wonderful example of a life well lived, and there's so many things that you've taught me, so many things. The voice in my head is often you. The harder you work, the luckier you get is one of my favorite phrases, and the favorite compliment I've had in my life for almost anything is not about me, but your father is such a nice man, and that has been that's been a refrain that I've heard for years, decades, and it's the favorite thing I've ever heard.
Dad, everybody's here because they know you're an absolute rock star. And it's a blessing to know you. It's a blessing to love you. And it's even a bigger blessing to be loved by you.
Before you leave, I have to ask you to tell that story in Hartford.
Well, there was a story when I was going to the University of Hartford, and my dad was with the Hartford Whalers, and pretty much what the information I was given was, I just want to make sure I don't hear your name or any of your girlfriend's name in my locker room. So I made sure we all went by aliases. Not to say we wouldn't hang out with the players, we just didn't go by our real names.
I just want to say, Dad, I love you very much. Growing up, you taught me everything that I know that was cool. When people ask me who's the coolest person you know, I can easily say it's my dad. I was a hockey geek growing up. You gave me full access and allowed me to do, what I wanted to do as far as, learning about the game, learning how to be a man. And, you taught me calmness throughout my life. It took a lot to make my dad mad, but if you knew he would raise his voice, you were like, holy shit, this is bad. So my mom usually took care of that aspect of our lives. But I just want to say, I love you very much. You've taught me everything I know. I try to model myself after you, and can honestly say you're the coolest person I know, and I'm a pleasure, to call myself your son. I love you very much. Happy birthday.
This is difficult, so I'm going to picture you all naked. They say that makes it easier to talk in front of people. So hold on. Big mistake. Eddie often says he thanks God every day for giving him. Oh, God. Even though I know he likes happy hour, and he loves the food that Bill brings to him, and my cooking's not bad either.
Gigi's Diner.
Hmm?
Gigi's Diner.
Gigi's Diner, that's right. He cherishes hockey and golf if it doesn't kill him, and all the great doctors that he's had since we've been here in Pittsburgh, and I can't thank Deb and Jim Kettleberger enough and their miracle workers for keeping the man walking and happy. But most of all, I really have to thank every one of you for being here, because every one of you here are special to us and our family. And I mean that sincerely. Everyone in this room means something to us and our family. And I can't thank you enough for being here. So put your clothes back on.
I gotta tell you a funny thing about EJ is that he has some cool sayings that we used to laugh at. The media, all the people in the media are always repeating it. When a player would have a bad night, like a goalie, or the team would have a bad night, EJ would say, "We shit the bed." And so I always thought it would be great, like Dave Molinari's here from the Pittsburgh Press in those days, and he could have had the headline in the press: Penguins shit the bed. EJ. But that was another good one. Trotz was, if a player got knocked silly or something, EJ would say he was Jingle Bells. You remember that, He's Jingle Bells. But we just loved the way he talked, and he talked really fast. I can't even tell you how much all of us learned about hockey from EJ, and still do. I mean, I sit next to him almost every game, and he talks about the power play. And I honestly believe in my heart that his ideas on the power play that he had back in the early 80s, when the Penguins had the best power play in the NHL, and you heard Randy Carlyle mention it, I think his ideas would still hold up today. And I think it's kind of sad, really, that current coaches don't bring EJ in and say, what is it you did?
Just to interrupt you a little bit, I hated the name Pat Boutette. Does anybody remember Pat Boutette? He set these picks on the power play, and we turned, and there was Pat Boutette staring us in the face. But they were set picks. He wasn't a moving pick. He would just stand there. We'd turn into him, and it wasn't interference.
Exactly, and EJ came up with that because of Tommy Heinsohn, who was the famous coach of the Boston Celtics, who showed him how they do that in basketball. So he just applied it to the power play, and I'm telling you, it was unstoppable. We had Randy Carlyle, Mario Faubert, Pat Boutette, Paul Gardner, and Rick Kehoe scored 55 goals. And it was just really fun to see them dominate on the power play the way they did. And they held the record for a long time. And then EJ was coaching again in '96 when we had an incredible power play that I'm sure used some of those same tactics. And it was Sergei Zubov, Mario Lemieux, Ron Francis, Jaromir Jagr, and Peter Nedved. That was our power play in 1996. It was incredible. It broke records. So, EJ, I just loved watching you run that. You did a great job, and you're still talking about it. And anytime you want to tell me about the power play up there in the press box, I'm happy to hear it.
So, Staggy, another name that I got to hate, it was in '82, was named Andre St. Laurent. EJ, you know the name, because every time he came on the ice, I got pulled off the ice. Our line was playing against Andre St. Laurent, and we beat the Penguins in '82. I think we hammered them the first two games on Long Island. I was playing for the Islanders then, and we hammered the first two games. And we come into Pittsburgh, and of course we didn't know. I think
what happened was the owner, Edward J. Bartolo. We were blown out in the first two games on Long Island. Who had, I think we had 110 points that year, and we had 75, and we played them in the first round in a preliminary series. And what happened was we got blown out in the first two games. So Mr. DeBartolo offered refunds to all the fans because of how poorly we played. And here's the thing. The fans really took exception to that. They were really insulted. I think, the owner and the players too, obviously, but even the fans, it was like, what do you mean? These are our guys. We don't care if they got blown out. They're coming home, and we're going to win. And sure enough, Rick Kehoe, who's here tonight, Chico, scored the game-winning goal in overtime in Game 3 in Pittsburgh. We beat him in Game 4. We had him on the ropes with about 4 minutes to go in Game 5, and John Tonelli picked them up off the mat, scored a goal to tie the game, and then scored another one to win it in overtime. And he broke our hearts. But and I still remember EJ standing next to the table of food afterwards. The team gathered in a meeting room at the hotel, and EJ was talking about the very thing you're saying. So I had him. Trotz, they were taking him off the ice because we had Andre St. Laurent checking him, and Al Arbor was taking him off the ice. And now you corroborate that.
It's Game 5 on Long Island, and I think EJ, you're responsible for the home team having last change now, because every time we'd change and our line would come out, Mike Bossy, myself, Clark Gillies, you'd put the Andre St. Laurent line, and we'd get pulled off. And we're like, what? And for whatever reason, Al didn't want us playing against the Andre St. Laurent line. And Mike was getting madder than a hornet. So you're an innovator again. You're in the rule book. Home team gets last change. Eddie Johnston. It was fun for me coming here and coaching with EJ and Rick Kehoe, being part of that coaching team, because EJ shares everything. Everything that's on his mind, he shares. And as a coach, when you're a young coach and you're making that switch from player coach, and I couldn't ask for a better mentor. And Chico said, just hang on to your chair some days, because it's going to be fast and furious, and it was. And EJ, thank you very much. Great years here for us.
What an honor for me to be standing up here, having to tell a beautiful story about one of the best coaches that I've ever had. That he was totally responsible, not just getting me to the National Hockey League, but to getting me here to Pittsburgh to do what I do now, working with kids. It's all because of EJ. Because he was a player's coach. That's all everybody ever talked about, was how EJ was a coach for the players. we really didn't know what that was all about. You know, you'd hear about stuff like that, but you never really seen it in person. Well, the New Brunswick Hawks were a team that was formed by the Toronto Maple Leafs and the Chicago Blackhawks farm system. And we moved from Dallas, Texas, the year before, to Moncton, New Brunswick. And the team was set up there, and EJ was our head coach. And it was the first game ever in Moncton, New Brunswick. And the place held maybe 6,000 people, and there was 8,000 in the building. I mean, they loved their hockey there. And it was in the second period that I go into the corner. I go into the corner, and I cross-check this guy by the name of Buzniak, and I break my stick in two. Well, as that happens, I get a penalty for cross-checking, so here I am, 5'8", all pissed off. I got to give myself a new stick. I'm going by their bench, and Pat Quinn is the coach for the Maine Mariners at that time. And the rumor was that Pat and EJ weren't the best of friends. They didn't see eye to eye too much together. So anyway, I'm going by their bench, and they're all yapping at me. And it's the first game in Moncton, and I'm having a pretty good season right at that time. And I stop in front of their bench, and I go, well, who the hell wants to try me? 5'8". I'm this far away from their bench. Who wants to try me? Pat Quinn used to see me. He said, your eyes were the size of silver dollars when I said, go get that little son of a bee. And the whole team came off the bench, and they're coming out. So it's a bench clearing brawl. And I'm swinging like this, and I'm down on the ice, and sure enough, it gets a little later in the pile, and I'm getting into a fight with somebody. My second fight. And everything stops as we're just hitting away. We stop, just like in the movies. And we look at center ice, and there's EJ and Pat Quinn in their suit coats, toe-to-toe. Toe-to-toe. I mean, this is our home game. And EJ didn't like what happened, that Pat Quinn sent the whole team after me. So he took things into his own hands. It was unbelievable to see the passion in that coach's eyes of what he brought that night to us. Great story. It hit the newspapers. I still have the article. I sent it over to Paulie to read about it. And anyway, it was 3 nights later that we fly into Boston. And EJ was always the last guy on the bus. And we're sitting on the bus, and there's this man standing in front of EJ. And EJ's a big guy, 6 foot tall. You can't see him amongst this guy. So finally, he's the last guy on. He gets on the bus, and one of the guys on the team said, hey, EJ, who was that guy? Was that a friend of yours here in town? He goes, no. He said, he used to take care of us here in Boston. He was one of our protectors for the goalies, and he just wanted to know if I wanted anything done to Pat Quinn.
I've been going to Penguin games since I was 6 years old, and that's no kidding, since the first year of the franchise. And the first time I met EJ, and he will not remember this, but I asked him for his autograph, and did repeatedly over the years, but the first time I was 11 years old, and EJ was very gracious, gave it to me. And then right after that, I asked his teammate, Derek Sanderson, for an autograph, and he gave it to me, and then he asked me where the local adult bookstore was. And I knew. Right down there, Mr. Sanderson. So don't ever let anybody tell you kids shouldn't grow up around hockey. And then about 10 years later, I was just in college, but I worked part-time for United Press International covering the Penguin games when EJ was coach. And honestly, since then, I have not learned more about hockey from anybody else than Eddie Johnston. And, I've had the pleasure of working with so many great hockey minds, great coaches, great players, great general managers like Craig Patrick's here tonight. And EJ tops my list. He taught me so much. That power play that got referenced, EJ showed that to me using ketchup bottles and salt shakers. And I understood it perfectly. I could have gone out there and maybe set a pick like Pat Boutet. Not move like Pat Boutet, but maybe done okay. But the thing with EJ is, and I'm sure he'd confirm this, and like somebody said earlier, he talks so fast. And the first couple months, I'm like, what'd he say? Like, you need kind of a translator. We, at the time, is Haley Hunter here? By any chance from... Her father, Tim Horenowich, was on the first team I covered for the Penguins. When I say covered, very loosely terms. And Oris Kindrachuk. And EJ called them both Horendachuk. It was like, wait a minute, who's he mean? But you caught on. Like he just, knows so much about it. I remember Tom Barrasso got hurt, and EJ said he had a Rotary Club injury. And to which I could only thank the Rotary Club if I had had a chance to meet them. And then one thing I remember about EJ too is he always got hit in the head. Like he didn't have a mask, they hit him in the head then. He put a mask on, they hit him in the head then. He was coaching in '96 on the bench, they hit him in the head then. We just saw the picture up there of him gushing blood. That was the game where we beat the Capitals in how many overtimes? 3 or 4? And Kenny Reagan made a save. Our host stopped Joey Janot in overtime. I'm not sure EJ remembers it because, like I said, he got hit in the head. I am going to refer to my notes here, but just so everybody gets it right. Won 2 cups with Boston. The last goalie to ever play every minute of every game in the season. Was on Team Canada in '72, the first time Canadian pros played the Russian quote-unquote amateurs. Like we've talked about a few times, reinvented the power play. Drafted Mario, and that wasn't as easy as people think. I know that might seem like the easiest thing in the world to do, but he got offered the Stastny brothers by Quebec, and Peter Stastny's a Hall of Famer, got offered all of Minnesota's draft picks. Montreal offered him a ton, including, I think, Guy Carbonneau. And, he said no. If he didn't say no, we wouldn't all be in this room. Okay? Because Mario coming here saved the Penguins. EJ brought him here. No question about that, because he saw him play, and he knew, and pretty soon, we all knew. Let me go back to my list here. EJ was a great bench coach, line matchups and all that. We talked about that earlier. Trotz talked about it. I remember the '96 series against New York, where he just tied Colin Campbell in knots. I remember talking to Mark Messier after one of the games, and he said in so many words, Soupy wanted me out there against Mario, and we just couldn't do it. And I told him to just put me out there so I'd play a little bit anyway. That's Mark Messier, talking about how his coach got out-coached. But I was there, and I absolutely saw it happen. Made great trades. I got to bring this up. Everybody talks about EJ trading Ronnie Francis and Ulf here for Zarley Zalapsky and John Cullen, like he got beat on that trade. The Hockey News said at the time, Hartford wins the trade. I mean, don't get me wrong, we benefited by Ronnie and Ulfie, but he just knows the game. I can't emphasize that enough. All you guys who played for him, with him, he just knows the game, absolutely better than anybody. And let me just, like his son Joe said earlier, EJ's the coolest guy I know too. And all the Johnstons are just delightful people. I met his grandkids tonight. They say they listen to my show, which I'm still going to swear. But it's still a great honor to hear that. And one favor EJ did for me, this is something I'll never forget. The draft was here in Pittsburgh in '99. And Joe Thornton was going to be the first pick. And his agent was Bobby Orr, who was EJ's very close friend, best friend really, and longtime roommate. So we kept calling Bobby Orr's office, trying to get him on the show, and his secretary would blow me off, blow my producer off, just, say, Mr. Orr, we'll call you back, Mr. Madden. Can I have your number? And that just never happened. So I say to EJ, can we get your buddy Bobby on the show? And he goes, yeah. He goes, here's what you do. Call her tomorrow. It'll be all set. So I called her tomorrow. The same lady goes, Mr. Madden, I'll take your number, and Mr. Orr will get back to you. So I said, okay. EJ, it's Bobby Orr. I get it, blah, blah, blah. 30 seconds later, my phone in my office rings. I pick up the phone. Marky, Bobby Orr. And he came on the show, and that's not just because he and EJ are close friends. That extends to the whole hockey world. And everybody in this room, everybody has universal love and respect for Eddie Johnston. No question about that. And let me just add I wasn't sure whether to bring this up, but I'm gonna. EJ should absolutely be in the Hockey Hall of Fame. Like I mentioned all his qualifications, he built the game. Okay, he's important to the game. If he hadn't been involved with the game wouldn't be the same. And, there are a bunch of guys in that Hall of Fame who scored 500 goals, and nobody remembers even one of them. I was going to say Matt Sundin's name, but I probably shouldn't. But they remember EJ. Everybody does. I mean, what he did in hockey and the word fame applies to Eddie Johnston. He should absolutely be in Yonge Street in Toronto. What he's done, to my mind, in hockey has been unparalleled. I love him to death. He's a delightful guy. And like I said, everybody in this room has been touched by him. and this room is packed. It's standing room only. A lot of guys who couldn't be here as well. Again, EJ, happy birthday. I can't say enough good about you. Thank you, Diane, and everybody, Kenny and 31 for having me here. I couldn't be happier to be here. Again, happy birthday, EJ.
I get drafted by the Penguins in 1981. 81, 82. Some year in there I got drafted. I wasn't in the first round, so in those days you didn't go to the draft, right? I'm at home waiting to get a phone call. I get a phone call, and this is the conversation. Hey, Troy, good to see you. Eddie Johnston was drafted by the Penguins. Glad to have you here. I'll see you at training camp. I hang up the phone, and my mom goes, well, I said, I think it was the Penguins. I'm not quite sure. But EJ was my first connection with the Penguins. Kind of. Wasn't quite sure, but I'm pretty sure I got drafted by the Penguins. So, thanks, EJ.
Well, Troy, my year, we did go to the draft in '83, the year before Mario. And EJ and I go back over 42 years. EJ, that was amazing. So EJ made a track from, well, you were in the penthouse room probably, and I was down on the bottom floor. And you brought my jersey to my room the night before the draft. EJ showed up, general manager of the Penguins, and I was going to be drafted. The Penguins were picking 15th that day. And EJ said, if you're available, I have your jersey right here. It was a Penguin jersey with number 10 on it. And 14 went. And 42 and a half years later, EJ, we're still together. Yes. And that's the only reason I'm in Pittsburgh. Thanks, EJ. And I must say, and the biggest compliment, I could give EJ is, I golf at the same golf club as EJ does, and everybody can't wait to see EJ's name, and Hilly knows what I'm talking about, on the tee sheet. I'm not even playing that day, and I say, EJ and there's his wife. They're playing at like 2:30. They're going to play 9 more holes. I gotta make my way somehow to that practice range, just to see him. Get up there and say, EJ, how you doing? He goes, I'm not hitting it very far, Bobby. I'm not feeling very good. Like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Well, let me see. So he's out there. The flag, I swear, like I'm not lying. This is 2 weeks ago. The flag's out there, but 142 EJ, something like that. So he's got, I don't know, he's hitting like a 6-wood or something, and he's swinging it, and the ball is either this side 1 foot or this side 1 foot, right on the flag.
Steady Eddie.
You're 90?
Steady Eddie.
And your handicap's still better than mine, EJ. But I love you. Thanks for everything, EJ. I appreciate it. I'm glad to be in Pittsburgh.
What's amazing is in 1982, EJ had a jersey with the name Trottier on it because Brian Trottier's brother Rocky was available in the draft that year, and he said, we're putting the name Trottier on the jersey. And New Jersey took Trottier in the draft, and the Penguins ended up with Richie Sutter instead. But what do you think of that, Brian? Your brother almost got drafted by the Penguins, but he got drafted by the New Jersey Devils.
I've known Eddie since '84. I was not drafted by the Penguins, but Eddie traded for me in '84. I was with the Bruins at the time, and just after training camp that year, Eddie made the trade to bring me here. And it's been a great experience for my wife and I. We built a life here and remained here. Can't thank him enough, and enjoyed his company over the years and still do. So thank you, Eddie. Happy birthday, and wish you many more, pal.
I have 2 stories. I'm going to go quick. So I was a rookie in 1981. I got drafted by the Penguins in the 10th round. And Mike Bullard, who you remember was a famous 50-goal scorer here back then, he was at the draft in Montreal, and you don't go to the draft back then, and all of a sudden I get a phone call, and it was, I was drafted in the 10th round. And Mike Bullard had a lot to do with that because he coerced EJ into, drafting me. So, the stories I have is I got called up one year, and me and Mike were rooming together in Montreal, both single back in those days, and there's a curfew. So I went out and had something to eat, and I got back. I didn't want to get in trouble, and the door knocks, And I open it and it's EJ. And he says, "Where's Bullard?" And I'm like, I don't want to rat on Bull. He goes, "Open the door." So he walks in and he says, "Where is he?" I said, "I don't know. I think he was with some of the guys." I came back. So he went into, back then the hotel had like a little bit of a lounge area with a TV, and then the bedrooms with 2 double beds were in the back. So he walked into the back and he goes, "He's not here." And he walked down with a Playboy and said, "Do you read this stuff like he does?" And I said, "No." And then he sat down and waited for an hour until Bullard came back. And so I said, "I don't want to get in trouble there." The other one I'll say it's what type of person he is that I got traded in '87 in the Craig Simpson, Mo Manta, Chris Jofus trade, and we finished the practice, and all of a sudden John Doolan comes up, the trainer, and says, "Dave, Eddie wants to see you." I said, "Oh, okay," and I didn't even think of getting traded. And he goes, "You're going to Edmonton." And I had just bought a house that summer because I thought I made it with my wife, Ginny. We painted it, we worked on it, we did everything to it and loved it. And he goes, "By the way, you guys gotta be on a plane by 3 o'clock this afternoon." So fast forward, we came back and played in Pittsburgh that year. And I'm really close with Randy Hillier. And so I came back to Edmonton and scored, and I wasn't a big goal scorer, as everybody knows, but I scored 3 goals in the first period. Hillier was -2. And what happened was, the game's over, and I'm walking out, and I didn't think I'd see him, and him and Diane came by, and he literally turned around, and he grabbed me and said, "Boy, you played a hell of a game." And we beat them. We beat you guys that night. And he said to me, he goes, "If I would have known you did that, I would have never traded you."
While EJ's coming up, I'd just like to say that I've known Diane and EJ for 51 years. I got traded to St. Louis in '74, and since '74, EJ has been my mentor, my advisor, just everything hockey. 51 years, and I really appreciate it.
We got a hat for you. It's got your family shield on it, the Johnston shield on it. So that's from us. Ireland area, Johnston, Johnston. We're in good health. We got you an Irish 6-pence keychain that says.
He doesn't wear glasses. Good job, Dad.
We got a little lapel pin for him. It's the Irish cross. I think they call it the Celtic cross or the Celtic cross, and it's the never-ending weave of strength, unity, everything that you embody, EJ. That's perseverance, integrity, everything about it. That's yours. So you wear that from our alumni. We've got a couple of fun little items here because we think you're way better than a Model T. Here's a classic Model A or Model A t-shirt for you to put on. Classic. And something else to keep you warm. Made in 1935. Vintage classic. They don't make them like this anymore, EJ. So we're in good health. And with the help of Cindy Himes and our friends over at Wendell August, Craig, if you could grab this, please. It's a 90th, Eddie Johnson 90th birthday. We'll open it up. There should be a nice surprise in there, I think. Oh, little Crown Royal. Little penguin glass that says 90th birthday. Actually, we'll get rid of this.
Happy hour, Mom.
My name is Billy Norsik. I grew up right down the road, about 3 miles. My family owned and operated a restaurant for over 100 years. It was Right Seafood Inn. Back in the day, Diane and Ed and their family were regular customers. And they always would come in and talk to my grandmother, talk to my dad, my uncle. And unfortunately, back at that time, I wasn't around. I was either in college or had moved to Virginia, so I wasn't blessed to meet them. But I moved back here in 2009, and due to the fact that I love goaltending, and my first game my dad took me to in 1970, and the first thing I noticed was the goalie was Les Binkley, and I couldn't take my eyes off him, so I became a fan of goaltending. And when I moved back here, I started collecting vintage goalie masks. And through a mutual friend that came to my house, and he said, he's looking at my collection, he goes, "Do you have an EJ mask?" And I said, "No, why?" He said, "Well, I've known them for 40 years, and if you did, I could probably get it autographed." And I'm like, "Really?" He said, "Yeah." So I called my friend and I said, "Look, you need to make me an EJ mask." He said, "Why?" And I told him, he said, "I'll make 2. So he wanted one for himself. So I got the mask made, talked to my friend, and he said, "I got it set up. I want you to meet me at this address." So I get up to St. Clair, and I'm at Ed and Diane's house, and I'm nervous. And in the meantime, my friend called me and said, "Oh, and Ed wants you to bring some of your masks. He wants to see them." So I brought them up, and had them in a box. The minute I walked in the door, they opened me with they welcomed me with open arms. It was absolutely tremendous. Some kid that they never met before welcomed me in, sat down. I was showing Ed the mask, and he's saying, "Oh, that's Dunk Wilson. He's a crazy bastard. I played with him in Toronto." And I'm sitting there thinking, this is unbelievable. This is surreal. And all of a sudden, I looked at Diane, and my friend said, they owned a Right Seafood Inn. His family owned Right Seafood Inn. And Diane's eyes lit up, and it's history since then. I can't tell you how wonderful they are. Everyone around here is talking about all their hockey experiences with them, and playing hockey with Ed and being coached with them by him. But from the bottom of my heart, I know how wonderful these people are. I mean, they're hockey royalty. I mean, the entire family's hockey royalty. But they took me in, some unknown kid from Heidelberg, and I'm part of their family now. And I'm so honored. I mean, so honored by that. And like I said, it's surreal. So I got to make this short because he's about ready to cross-check me with this guitar. Anyway, I thought long and hard, and I was like, what am I going to do? I'm going to get Ed something really cool for his 90th birthday. And I called my friend the mask maker, and I told him what I wanted to do. And at first, he was kind of apprehensive. And I'm like, all right, well, if you can't do it, I got to think of something else. Fortunately, I'm blessed to be friends with 2 incredible artists. And I called another friend, Rob Allman, and I asked him if he could do something for me, and wholeheartedly he said yes. So I got something, Ed, you're not only going to get one gift, you get 2 from me. So anyway, in the meantime, my mask making friend sends me photos and says, "Here, this is what I want to do." And I'm like, all right. So Ed, this is the first mask, and you've heard all these stories of Ed's history and being in the NHL and all the teams he's played for. This is a replica of your mask, your very first mask, made by Ernie Higgins, and it has every team that you were associated with.
So I put together it's a biography, a comic strip biography of Mr. Johnston's amazing career. And I feel pretty good because everybody is telling these stories, and I managed to hit most of the highlights in 2 pages. So that's what we got. Hopefully everybody will have. For my part, just to say a quick word, I only met Mr. and Mrs. Johnston tonight, but I've been a fan forever, and I'm just absolutely humbled to be in this room with all these great people.
Oh,
Thanks
thank
so much.
you.
I love you dearly, and I love your family, and thank you for...
We love you too, Bill.
Okay, I'm gonna pause. You want one practice?
Yep. Happy 90 years old.
Your buddies in Boston called you downtown. You kept the beers coming fast and cold. They were all right here right now, they'd say,
Happy 90 years old.
happy 90 years old, you're the best of the best. Ain't no one better, the truth be told. You're better the best, you're the best.
Happy 90 years old.
Cover my words. There we go, okay. This room is full of folks who love you so. All your friends are paved in gold. And we're all here to celebrate and to say,
Happy 90 years old.
happy 90 years old, you're the best of the best. Ain't no one better, the truth be told. Hip, 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 hooray. DJ, now we say, hey, hey.
Happy 90 years old.
Happy 90 years old, you're the best of the best. Ain't no one better, the truth be told. Here, DJ, we say, hey, hey, hey.
Happy 90 years old.
One more time. Hip, 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 hooray. EJ, now we say, hey, hey.
Happy 90 years old.
First of all, I want to thank, like I said, thank everybody for being here tonight. This is quite an honor, you know, and not only but for myself and my wife and my family, for all. It's been over 40 years now. We've been here in this place, and God bless them. And I've been very blessed to have my beautiful wife for 56 years, and because she's taking care of me, and that's the reason I'm at 90.
It's the happy hour.
Every hour's happy hour. Thank you, everybody. This is like once in a lifetime for me to have something like this, and to have all these people that are great friends of mine. Are not just coming in here and having a drink and that, but these are people that have been very, very close to both myself and my wife and my family over the last 40, 50 years. And thank you so much, for being here tonight and having this, because this is once in a lifetime for me and my family. And you people as friends, you don't come any better than every one of you guys that are here tonight as a friend of mine. Thank you so much.
We love you.
Happy birthday, EJ. I love that line. Every hour is happy hour.
You guys ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Happy birthday to you.
gonna make a wish. A big wish. Everybody in this place, stay healthy. Thanks for coming.
Woo!